In the Marine Corps, we had a saying, semper, which is Latin for always, and Gumby, which is, a flexible dude made out of clay.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Connections That Matter, where we talk to Northern Colorado's best business owners and the connections that they make that make them be successful. And when we talk about collaborators and community builders, if you haven't met Marshall Spring yet, you got to meet Marshall. So Marshall, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor to be here, and what an opportunity. So I get to spend my day having really, really interesting conversations and solving problems all day, every day. So I am the founder and CEO of Combat Recovery Foundation, and we are focused on effective evidence-based suicide prevention for veterans and survivors.
Very cool. And you've grown quite a bit since I've been following you, and you've built quite a team and a lot of collaborations. But share a little bit about your journey, the vision of why you started, and what are some of the projects you're tackling?
Yeah. Well, I guess Combat Recovery Foundation was born out of a response to my business partner's very, very unexpected death. And his name was Al Burke, and miss him to this day. And he killed himself, and nobody really understands why. And so I started Combat Recovery Foundation as a response to that, to shine a light on the incredible rate of suicide amongst veterans. Veterans are 4 to 6 times more likely to kill themselves than the average civilian. And to uncover, to understand more about why that happens. And it's not about unchecked mental illness or depression. It's about isolation. And in the military, you have a mission, and you have a crew to go about and accomplish mission with. And when you leave, all of that goes away. And that transition is very, very difficult. And for a lot of veterans, they struggle to recreate that community in their lives. And so that's what Combat Recovery Foundation is trying to do, is give veterans a new mission and a new community to accomplish that mission with.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways. I've seen that you have like a gaming club and a fishing club. So what are some ways that people can get involved and build that community that they might be missing out on?
So we're always looking for community leaders, people who have a passion and want to pass that passion along. And so that's how the fishing group got started, and that's how the gaming group got started, is that's what people wanted to do. And then we've also got groups that serve the community and respond to needs in the community. And so we get involved in erosion control efforts to try and protect the watershed, and we do wildfire mitigation and recovery work to protect our community, which is, it's what all of us signed up to do, into the military to do in the first place. And so why not take advantage of that person's desire to serve and protect.
And it makes, I've seen on the website some of your videos that you've done. Just really, really cool and there's something that nature does when you're up there restoring the ground to make you feel connected and stuff like that. So
that's what I love so much about our mission, is we're serving the land, we're restoring the land and leaving it better than we found it, so that the land can leave us better than it found us.
Yeah. And as a nonprofit, you started it, but you're not always from the nonprofit world. You come from a business background. So what made you want to go into more of the nonprofit sector? Yes,
you're right. Yeah, I was self-employed for 20 years, and so it was out of a desire to see some type of a solution to uncover what the mystery of why veterans are struggling so much to exist in this environment.
Well, Marshall, the way that you've built it, a lot of nonprofits do fundraisers. They're constantly asking for money, or they're throwing different nonprofit events. You have taken a different route and also created collaborations and partnerships. So, tell us about some of those.
Yeah, so I think you're asking me how we keep the lights on.
How do you keep the lights on, Marshall?
Great question. Great question. I love to talk about this. So as a business owner, I've had the experience of being overwhelmed with opportunities to give.
Sure.
Way more opportunities than I have resources. And so that creates a responsibility to take a lot of time and do a lot of vetting and, suss these organizations out and make sure that my resources are going in the right direction. I understand how valuable time is to a business owner. So I try not to ask for donations. And we don't really spend a lot of time writing grants, and we don't take your tax dollars. What I want to do is I don't want to take from your bottom line. I want to add to your top line and just take my fair share. So we've created a marketing apparatus that is very, very effective. And we create brand collaborations. And so as for instance, we just locked a brand collaboration with Pine Right soap. And it's really, really cool because we're thinning trees and limbing up trees to mitigate fire risk, right? Well, now what we can do is we can take all of that tree material, and instead of burning it or chipping it and returning that fuel to the forest, what we're doing is we're partnering with Pine Right, and we're powdering it. They're powdering it, and they're turning it into soap. They're turning it into a facial scrub and into a hand soap, and it's like the best soap you could possibly use. Wow. And now when you purchase it, a portion of those proceeds benefit our nonprofit and our effort to go and mitigate the wildfires and keep people showing up day in and day out.
That's so cool. So I'm super curious how you got that sign. Like, one, are people finding you? Are you seeking out these kind of partnerships? How did you start exploring the idea?
So it started with coffee. Coffee was the first. We partnered with Wander Coffee out of Northern Fort Collins, run by a couple of brothers. They're great guys. They're really fanatical about making really, really good coffee. So we sat down with them. We tried about 6, variants, and we tweaked the flavor. And now we have Rising Phoenix Roast Coffee, and you can find it at wandercoffee.com. And then from there, we created Patriot Press, which is a line of ciders. And we partnered with Sweetheart Winery to create that. And so you can find that at Sweetheart Winery, but you could also find it on tap all over Colorado. And pretty soon it's going to be on the shelf in grocery stores and liquor stores. And so the next collaboration was... Forgive my memory. I do have half a dozen TBIs, so sometimes things fly out of here. But the next collaboration was, it'll come to me. But that's what we do is we create these brand collaborations where a portion of the sales benefit the nonprofit, and then hopefully the sales of that product increases, and that's what incentivizes the business owner to partner with us. So it doesn't cost them anything, and hopefully, in fact, it makes them money to partner with us.
Sure, definitely create some win-wins. Sometimes people come up with the partnership agreements, but it seems very one-sided. What do you look for to really ensure that it's a win-win? Is it a culture fit? Is it a financial fit? Is it just cool products that you want to get behind? What is that? What are you looking for?
We try to partner with ethical brands who are putting a product out that is holistically beneficial, in as many ways possible. Pine Right is a perfect example of that, because here's a material that would otherwise be burnt, thrown away, or is a hazard. And we spend money to manage our forests and to remove those hazardous materials. And then, like I said, we don't really do anything productive with that material. But if we could now make that material profitable, well, now there's a reason to go and mitigate these materials out of our forests.
And it's so cool that both of you guys are Northern Colorado, and like with Sweetheart Winery right there at the foothills of Loveland up there. It's cool to see that you're doing and making an impact locally. Is this a local thing or is this a big thing? I mean, talk to me about the scope of where you work.
So we will serve anyone, anywhere. Typically, I have flown out and I've gone to veterans where there was a need. I popped out to Oregon. I went out to Virginia. But our preference is to bring veterans to us and to show them what we're doing with the hope that they will go and create this in their communities. So, I would love it if Florida came to us and said, how did you leverage your veteran population to mitigate wildfires? Because we would love to mitigate beach erosion with our veteran population, or whatever that local issue is. Let's find the people in your community that we already know that they're willing to sign their name on a dotted line and put their life on the line for a stranger. There's really no more compassionate thing that a person can do. Well, let's give them an opportunity to serve us again.
Awesome. Well, and one thing I noticed, I recently came to one of your board meetings, and you've just assembled quite the most amazing volunteers, the people who are committing some of their time to help the cause, but are powerhouses locally. So what kind of things are you doing to attract people that are leading committees, leading different projects?
We're snowballing quickly. I think honestly, one of our secrets in the sauce is just authenticity, genuine authenticity. It's one of our core values, and we're willing to have the really uncomfortable conversations. We're willing to talk about what needs to be talked about. I had a business meeting in my office just recently, and the guy wasn't in a really good headspace, and we ended up talking about that, and then that's all we ended up talking about. We rescheduled the business meeting, and there's a book. I might be getting the title wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's called Radical Hospitality. And I think the point that I'm trying to make is that we focus on the needs and goals of the individual who's in front of us and figure out what they want to do, and then figure out how that fits into the big piece, the whole pie. We don't go to the person and say, this is what we need you to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you got this race coming up in September. It's turning out to be a big thing. Rising Phoenix 5K. So I know this podcast will come out right before the event. Share us about the vision of that, because you're planning big things like flyovers and a whole bunch of stuff. So,
well, this is an opportunity for us to talk about things.
Okay.
So that event, flyover, bagpipes, fire trucks, 5K, community, food trucks, all of it was going to be awesome.
Okay. All right.
It is exceedingly difficult to get licensure for a thing like that. So actually what it came down to was the county shut it down.
Oh no. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
well,
sir.
I guess this is a story of resilience then.
This is a story of resilience.
Okay.
And that is the theme of Combat Recovery Foundation. Our logo is a phoenix, right? So interesting story. Our strategy around creating community was to take veterans on backcountry adventures.
Sure.
And then that all got interrupted when the backcountry we were going to use got burnt down. Now we work in wildfire recovery and mitigation. and that's our adventure in the backcountry. And that's how we kind of stumbled upon this whole concept of serving the community. What we learned is that veterans are terrible at showing up to get help, but they are amazing at showing up to help. So you're right. This is a story of resilience. So what we have turned this into is an event that's going to be going on this November 15th. And it's going to be about celebrating winter and the entire season. And we're going to have some really, really fun things going on. We're kind of centering it around the theme of fire and kind of like bring light to the night kind of a thing.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's going to be great. Stay tuned for more details.
So, yeah. Well, take me back to the moment, though, where you got the letter that says, hey, this is not happening. And you guys have obviously put a lot of effort in planning and the vision and dreamt about it. Like, I remember even walking on a hike with you guys, and we were visualizing what this was going to do. And then now it's not going to be the original plan.
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs there's a point where they got to pivot, they got to adapt, or they got to overcome. But it doesn't make that initial news any easier. So what do you do when you first get the bad news? Any advice you'd give to another business owner about how to make how to make the best out of whatever situation you get going on?
Yeah. Great question. I think the answer is to have already found the value in the bad news before it comes, so that you know why that bad news isn't actually bad.
Yeah. So now you're here. You're refocused on the mission, and you're able to pivot. Gives you more freedom to do that. But you're not a one-man show, right? Like you got a lot of teams. So how is it easy to mobilize your team to adjust for the new stuff?
So we always plan for every contingency, and that's when I say the bad news isn't bad.
Yeah.
There's value in every trauma. There is a silver lining to every cloud. Sometimes it's really, really hard to find. If you can possibly anticipate that cloud and look for the silver lining before it comes, then if it comes, you already know why that's actually an opportunity in disguise. Easier to do in business than it is in other parts of life.
Sure.
But when it comes down to planning an event, and I know that we're applying for a license, it's not a stretch for me to say, we might not get this license. How can I spin that into an opportunity on the backside if that happens? So here's the tough part. Here's where my big responsibility piece comes in, is I've got a team who has burnt a lot of hours working toward that goal. And I have got sponsors who want their name associated with a well-attended 5K event.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's about doing that planning on the front end so that you have a pivot, and then when it comes, being ready to pivot. And luckily, I have built a very flexible and dynamic team. In the Marine Corps, we had a saying, semper, which is Latin for always, and Gumby, which is, a flexible dude made out of clay.
Semper Gumby. Yeah.
Semper Gumby.
All right. Well, as you've been growing and scaling, have you had any growing pains, or has it been pretty seamless? I mean, you just seem to be doing it at such a high level.
Thanks. We've been growing really, really fast. And so we're still in a place where a lot of people are wearing too many hats.
Sure.
And so we are always recruiting. We're always looking for good people. We really need a volunteer coordinator who can ramp up that recruiting effort. and also keep a hard eye on making sure that the people who are working with us and volunteering with us and sacrificing their time and giving us their discretionary time and energy, that they're receiving the appreciation and the thanks that they deserve, and that they're seeing the fruits of their efforts and labors.
Yeah. And as a visionary, how has networking helped you accomplish your mission?
This networking has been huge. I've always been a big fan of it, and it's never been more important to me than it is now in this nonprofit space. My businesses in the past have been security and waste management, and so I benefited from a degree of necessity. Now that I run a nonprofit, all of my business interactions are very, very discretionary on the part of the person sitting across from me. And so the onus on me to be in front of the right person and drive the point home and to identify as quickly as possible what I do is of value to them is crucial. And having partners in that who can help me to vet the right people and who bring me the right people, like Pineright, which you brought me.
Yeah, cool.
Yep,
cool.
That's crucial, and actually, even more importantly, it's literally saving lives.
Yeah. Well, really cool. Well, Marshall, as a connector, as a community builder, a provider of spaces where people can belong, I'm sure there's people going to watch this episode and wonder how they can get involved, either whether it's a brand partnership where you guys are collaborating, or maybe it's a veteran that is just, feeling alone and feeling like they need to reach out. What is the best way to reach out to either you or your organization?
Yeah, great. Thanks for asking. So the short answer is you can find us at combatrecoveryfoundation.org. combatrecoveryfoundation.org. Really, the bottom line is whoever you are, you have something that connects with what we do. Either you're threatened by wildfire because you live near wildfire threats, and who doesn't at this point? Maybe you're a veteran, or you know somebody who could benefit from our services. Maybe you want to sponsor or donate or see us increase our impact. Maybe you want to volunteer with us, come hang out, come chop down some trees, or teach a veteran how to knit.
Sure.
Whatever your passion is. The bottom line is, if you want to give us a call, if you want to check out our website, I promise there's something that you can do with us, and you don't have to be a veteran.
All right, right on. Well, Marshall, thanks so much for coming on the show. I know we got Veterans Day, November 11th coming up, so really appreciate that, and appreciate all for what you do for the veteran community in Northern Colorado and the way that you're bringing Northern Colorado together.
Thanks for having me.
Hey all, thanks for watching. I love networking and building relationships with other Northern Colorado business leaders. So if you want to come meet some of these podcast guests, meet me, or meet some other amazing entrepreneurs in Northern Colorado, I would love to have you attend one of our next events. Go in the podcast description. There's a ways that you can see our upcoming schedule, and maybe you could be a future podcast guest as well. Thanks.